He was struck by a bolt of lightning. The bolt did not destroy him, but by the power of the god of thunder, it changed him. Suddenly, he walked on two legs like a man. He possessed amazing strength and agility. He could jump higher, run faster, and think more clearly than...
Hello everybody, it's AJ of the Mighty Glue Stick. Nice to see you. Today it's another monster video, and this is one of my favourite monsters, and it's a really traditional for Dungeons and Dragons, and you'll see it pretty much everywhere. Quite often underutilised because they are quite basic, and they have a fearsome reputation, which is the trolls. Now, I do a few interesting things with trolls. I really love their regeneration ability and how bizarre that is, and also just the fact that they're big, savage, humanoid predators and giants, really. And they're like a primary race of Dungeons and Dragons, and they're the uncontrollable, untamable wildness of, and you know, the danger of the wilderness of D&D. To me, they are encapsulated perfectly. So, as we all know, or I should hope you know, the regeneration of the troll is legendary. They regenerate 10 hit points at the start of every turn, and the only way to stop it is by basically reducing them to 0 hit points, and burning them with fire or acid, or just hitting them with acid or fire during the round, which will halt that regenerative ability, because their wounds can't regenerate tissue when it's on fire or being sizzled with acid. Now, trolls aren't stupid. They have an intelligence of 7, they've got a wisdom of 9. So they're as smart as the average peasant, and peasants, you know, they're pretty resourceful. So if a troll can avoid fire or acid, it's definitely going to do so, because they want to live forever, and they want to continue eating everything in sight forever. So they're going to avoid things which obviously have fire or acid, and foremost of that would of course be wizards and adventuring parties. They're probably not very keen to see adventuring parties and would love to kill them from a distance. There is no reason why a troll will not throw a boulder at the head of somebody who's walking into a corridor or into their hilly, rocky mountainside terrain. There is absolutely no reason why they'd not dig pit traps, or snares, or falling log traps, or anything that an Ewok or you know, some sort of, any movie that you've seen where they've done sort of Rambo style guerrilla warfare tactics to kill people without being there. Trolls can most certainly do that. They are very resourceful predators. That being said, of course, they love to tear things apart with their bare hands, and they have savage bites and claw attacks, which do, well, their claws are more formidable than their bite, but I'd imagine they'd love to bite things that they've got their hands on. And there's no reason why they couldn't choke things and stuff, because they have giant fingers to wrap around somebody's throat. Okay, so ways that you can use trolls in your game that will catch your players off guard. And these are some of the, I'm drawing from lots of different sources through D&D. One of the most famous is frozen troll flesh. Because a troll that's reduced to 0 hit points and hasn't been killed with fire or acid will regenerate, you can keep that flesh in a sort of stasis by freezing it, and when it thaws out, the troll will regenerate, because technically it's still alive. You can also do it so that, I've had a troll which is, the carcass of the troll was in a sarcophagus that was filled with live maggots that were eating the troll's flesh as it was regenerating for years and years, and then when the hapless adventurers finally broke open the sarcophagus and went searching through and pulled out the bones of this humanoid, it regenerated into a troll, a live troll, hopelessly insane and ravenously hungry. So you could think that when a troll is regenerating, its metabolism is going crazy, and it would be just insane with hunger, and that's really what drives their existence. Now, talking of food, trolls would probably, like the Kroot from Warhammer 40k, take on some of the traits of the things that they eat most often. So a troll that lives in mountain passes and dines almost exclusively on goats, for instance, might possibly have grown horns, or have a wicked headbutt attack, or the ability to jump nimbly around on rocks like its prey and have incredible agility. Now, they would be characterized by their incredible endurance. It's superhuman. It's at 20 for their endurance. So they can take a heck of a beating and a hell of a lot of pain and torment. They are probably used to being torn to pieces. I'd imagine troll parents would tear their young apart on occasion just to basically introduce them to the world of pain. And you know, they are vicious predators that would fight to the death every time they come across another troll that's not a mated ally. That's you know, because they have this huge desire for food, and they would hunt everything out of their territory. If they're in a rich territory with lots and lots of easy pickings, like villages on outlying parts of a large kingdom that's not very well patrolled, they will fight other trolls to the death, or at least to tear them apart and then make sure their pieces are scattered around away from them, to, you know, defend their eating territory. That being said, I wouldn't put a troll in a dungeon unless it's sort of trapped there, because there's just not enough food in a dungeon to satisfy a troll's hunger. It's a giant predatory carnivore that's got a massive metabolism, so it's just not going to subsist on fungus and, you know, the occasional carrion crawler. It's going to go crazy. So I mean, they might be found in dungeons occasionally, or they may have been passing through, or they may, yeah, as I say, be trapped in a dungeon, in which case you're in severe trouble, because those things are most definitely very, very hungry for the adventurers when they show up. You're not going to be able to negotiate with this thing. It's going to want to eat you. Yeah, so they would love to prey on a little helpless village of halflings. They would definitely go for the weak, the infirm, the poor, the malnourished, the unsupervised. I could quite imagine them sneaking up on a sleeping hill giant that's sleeping off a couple of kegs of ale that are stolen from some local village, slicing the thing's throat and eating it for weeks and weeks, and actually growing in size as they take on the traits of a hill giant. Maybe even get a little bit dim-witted and, yeah, get a fondness for alcohol, I don't know. Now, I've used trolls in all sorts of different ways. One of the most infamous is the troll serum, which is where, through a grisly process, you get a live troll, you slice it open, you remove the inner lining of its digestive system, turn that into an alchemical formula, into a serum, about a quart of the stuff in a big green jug. Sell it cheap to a bunch of stupid adventurers. They drink it, and it's a massive, you have to pass a really wicked endurance save just to get the stuff down. You have to drink the entire thing, and almost immediately it bonds with your system and gives you a regenerative ability, which allows you to survive the process of actually imbibing this stuff to begin with. Then, if you've made that saving throw, you need to start feeding yourself a pound of meat every day, a pound of raw meat every day, to satisfy the massive metabolic demands of the troll serum as it works its magic on your body. So then you start to get a green tinge to your skin, your strength increases, and you slowly gain that regenerative ability that increases in effectiveness as the weeks go on. And eventually you grow in size, you start to look like a half troll. You need to eat pounds and pounds of meat every single day, which becomes increasingly taxing. And not only that, but you will start to eat meat of questionable origins. You will eat any meat that you can come across. Any meat in easy reach is good enough for you, to the point where you will start looking at, you know, this fat baker's child, or that annoying halfling, for instance, and yeah, it's just, you look at him and you think, put an apple in his mouth, roast him over an open fire. Yeah, much to the horror of all your teammates. Now, the wizards have increased the quirkiness of trolls by having their limbs be able to crawl around. They call this the loathsome limbs variant. I would say it's not a variant. You should have that all the time. It sounds like a roaring good time to have troll limbs scuttling after you. There's no reason why, if you don't lock a troll's head off, its body doesn't come after you, for instance. or limbs scrabbling around, much like the Evil Dead movies. Yeah, you can have a lot of fun with trolls, really, and that whole regenerative ability, and the fact that they're vicious, intelligent predators that will not give up. I mean, they've got a keen sense of smell, and they can track you for miles. So if you're what they consider to be an easy target, like an injured party that's down on its luck and, you know, is getting savagely wounded all the time and frequently stopping and resting, that's like troll nip, man. They're going to definitely attack a wounded party when they're trying to regenerate their hit points in a long rest, most certainly. So yeah, trolls, have fun with them, spring them on your players when they least expect it. Definitely make them something that you should be always on the lookout for in wilderness environments. And yeah, have fun with those special abilities of trolls and unleash them on the players every chance you get.